Welcome to Shelaborate. I'm Kath.
And I'm Kyra. This is our podcast for the girls, from the girls.
We're telling our stories, hyping up women who inspire us, and shelaborating every step of the way.
It's time to give you the girl talk you've been waiting for. Let's get into it.
Hey, Shelaborators. Thanks for tuning in. Before we get into this episode, we want to give you a quick heads up. We do mention suicide at one point, and while it is an honest and important part of the conversation, we know that this might be extremely hard for some of the listeners. Please take care of yourself in whatever that may look like. Skip that section, come back later, or reach out for support. You're not alone. We love you. Thanks for being here. Now, let's get into it. Welcome back, Shelaborators. This is episode 10.
And today we're going to do a little episode that we're going to call the X-Files. We are going to bring up some of our dating history.
Bad dates, bad exes. I truly feel like this episode is going to be like bearing my soul a little bit.
I think that it's going to be something that everyone's interested in. We've all gone on bad dates, and it's time to share some of these crazy stories. So since this is the X-Files, we were thinking about, okay, well, we don't really want to use exes' names, their actual names, or girls' names that they may have started dating or been involved with, especially because it is a really small town and people might know us. And do they deserve to have their identity protected?
Who's to say?
Probably not. Probably not.
But this guy that the story is after is self-proclaimed with this fake name.
That is true. So we were thinking of, okay, how are we going to talk about guys? We need to have a code name for them. We were like, okay, should we use the first letter of their name? No, that's probably too obvious. No, we can't do that. Should we use their dog's name? Oh, what if they don't have a dog?
Obvious.
Yeah, too obvious. So we are going to, from now on, if we need to use a guy's name and we're trying to protect his identity and it's a part of the X-Files, we are going to call him Prescott. And the reason we're going to call him Prescott is our first crazy story for the X-Files. And he's not truly an ex.
No.
But this story is wild. Honestly, probably could be in an episode of Unhinged.
It should be.
So I'll tell this story from my perspective because this is a story of a guy and Poppy, but I also kind of had a big part in this story. So a long time ago, I downloaded this app and it's called The T. I recently found out that apparently it's like number 1 on the App Store right now. So The T is an app. If you're not familiar with it, only women can get it. You actually have to send in a picture of your driver's license to get it. And it's essentially for lack of a better way of putting this, a rating of guys locally who are on dating apps.
It is very similar to, if any of you guys have been on Facebook, it's basically like, are we dating the same guy?
Yes, very similar to that. And that's often what it's used for. So you can kind of rate guys on there, and you can also put T on there, comments about the guy. Mm-hmm. And so I forget why I originally downloaded it, because I was married at the time of downloading it. You guys always like screenshot people on dating apps, and sometimes I know them, sometimes I don't. But I would like scroll through it every once in a while, and Poppy would screenshot guys when she was going on a date. You know, the obligatory, hey, I'm about to go on a date. It's this guy. This is what he looks like. This is where we're going.
If something happens to me, it was probably this guy.
Exactly. Yeah. So she would always send me, okay, this is the guy I'm going on a date with before going on the date. Well, I'm driving in the car with my husband and she sends me a screenshot and she's like, hey, I'm going to go on a date with this guy. His name's Prescott. She sends me the screenshot. I look at it and I immediately recognize him from the T app. And I was like, hold up, he's on the T app. And this is the first time that this had actually ever happened. So I immediately start scrolling through the T app, and everyone on the app is like, don't go out with this guy. He is a massive conspiracy theorist. And Prescott isn't even his real name. And I don't know who picks the fake name of Prescott.
Didn't he have multiple fake names?
He did. So on the app, that's the other thing. If people are using fake names, or like if they have a spouse, or if they have domestic violence charges against them, or anything like that, any like felonies, the app will let you put that in there. And so this guy, he had been using a bunch of different fake names, which to me is kind of a red flag on dating apps. Like most of them, you're only using your first name anyways. I know a lot of guys in this area will use fake names because they're, you know, a part of the military or whatever. You're not that special. If you are on a dating app and you think that you need to use a fake name, it's just weird. If you're really, truly need to have your identity that hidden,
you're not on a dating app.
Exactly. So it's just really, really weird. And I also feel like as a woman, it's kind of like a safety issue because you don't actually know who you're meeting up with. And it's a safety issue because if she, you know, takes a screenshot of this person is like, hey, I'm meeting up with someone named Prescott, and she has the picture of him, who knows if it's even his real picture? He's using a fake name as well. And she does go missing. Well, now the only name I have to go off of is a fake name and
potentially
maybe
a fake picture.
Maybe it's a group of guys. Maybe it is him. Maybe it isn't. But it's just so much less information to go off of. It's a security thing for me, and I feel like it's a red flag. But anyway, so he was on the T. He was under there because he had been using a bunch of fake names, and everyone was like, I think he has a fiance. I don't know. And they were like, he is a crazy conspiracy theorist. And so I text her and I'm like screenshotting the T, and I'm like, his actual name is not Prescott, and I don't think you should meet up with him. Like, all of these girls are saying he's super weird. And not just weird in like a, oh, he's socially awkward way, like weird as in like he makes me feel uncomfortable. He doesn't seem like something's right about him, and he makes me feel unsafe. So I was like, hey, like this is what other women on the T are saying. And so she messages him and is like, is your actual name? And then gives one of the names that was listed on the T. Like, hey, I don't think we should meet up. And then basically sent her, I can't remember what the actual wording was, but basically sent her like a mild threat of like her not showing up. It was super weird. It wasn't outright saying that he was gonna do something, but insinuating it.
Yeah, like you could read it both ways.
Exactly.
It was very calculated and like well formulated so that you could probably brush it off.
But knowing all of the info that was on the T, it just goes to kind of show you that you really, truly have no idea who could be on these dating apps. That's just one of the crazy situations that
well, I think it's
our friend groups found themselves in.
I also think that us specifically where we are located geographically, for anyone that isn't kind of aware where we are, I'm not going to tell you like our exact location, but we are in a smaller town right outside of a military base. And so with that comes a lot of military people. It's just small. It's hard to date in a small town.
I think that one of the things is that because there is such a high concentration of guys here because of the military base, they're all in a similar job field, all have a lot of similar hobbies. So all of the guys kind of seem similar in a lot of ways. And I think sometimes fall into like similar traits of like bad dating habits because there's a culture of that.
I catch myself thinking, wow, it's the same guy 10 times. Right? Because you go downtown. Like if we go to First Friday tonight, we will see gaggles of just the same guy 18 different times.
Honestly, we always say that there's 3 types of people in this town: military, golfers, horse people, because There's a lot of people who come here for golf.
Yes.
We are right outside the military post. And there's also a lot of people who do horse stuff. And you can tell by the way that they're dressed. If they're a golf person, they're going to have a Titleist hat. They're going to be in like the little polo. They're going to have golf shoes on. And they're walking around like that.
It's pretty easy to spot. Actually, it's funny that you say that because when I was at the bar last night with my friends, we were talking about that specifically, about who was maybe who. And there was two guys that were behind us. And he goes, oh, that group of guys is definitely here for golfing. And I was like, well, let's test this theory. So I turn around and I ask them and I was like, hey, are you guys here for golfing? And they looked so offended. They were like, oh, no.
They weren't here for golfing?
They weren't. They were just dressed like golfers. I forget why they were here because I don't think they were military either.
So we have a lot of crazy dating stories from around here.
Tell me about your weirdest date experience.
Okay. So this is before I met my husband and I went on a date with this guy. He was a friend of someone else that I knew. And he was a police officer. So they said, okay, hey, like you're in the military. He's a police officer. You should go on a date with him. And I thought, okay, great. So it was basically a blind date situation. I had seen a picture of him and all I really knew is that he was a police officer. So I was like, okay, sure. Yeah, I'll go on a date with him.
Plus, did you trust this friend to set you up more or less with someone that you would?
Not really.
Okay.
They're like a friend of a friend. And they were just like, oh, hey, you should go on this date. So they also, I don't feel like really knew me that well. And it was probably a similar situation for him. He didn't really know that much about me. So I meet him out at this restaurant. We go on the date. Nothing really particularly weird happens on the date. It's what happened after the date that is so weird. The weirdest thing that's ever happened to me after a date. So I go home. It's a few days later and the date was okay. Like there wasn't very good conversation. It was not the scenario where I'm thinking, oh yeah, I really want to go on a second date with this guy. It was just kind of like, wow, he's really into being a police officer. And that was kind of his whole personality. And it was, to be honest, kind of a no from me. So I go home. We talk a little bit. I basically tell him like, hey, I'm not really interested. I felt bad about just ghosting him. So I just let him know like, hey, I'm not really interested. It was a really nice date. Like, I appreciate that you went out with me, but I don't want to like keep wasting your time with like you pursuing me because I'm not interested. He did not like that, but he was respectful and like didn't freak out. He was just like, oh, wow.
Bummer.
Like, I thought it was like a really good date. I'm
They
like,
always
oh,
do.
yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah, sorry. It just wasn't it for me. So a few days later, I had a roommate at the time. I'm not home and she gets a knock at the door and it's this guy. How does he know where I live? I don't know because he didn't pick me up there and he also didn't drop me off there. He never came to my house.
My first thought is he's a police officer.
Yeah, that's also my first thought. I don't know how he got my address. I feel like maybe there's like a database like tied to your driver's license or something. I don't know. But so he shows up at my house. And my roommate answers the door and is like, hi, can I help you? And he's like, hi, I have a present for Kyra. And she's like, oh, okay. She has no idea what's going on. She's like, I didn't recognize the guy, but I was just like, okay, a present for you. Woo. Sure. Yeah. So she takes it and he hands her a like small igloo cooler, like one of those small plastic coolers.
Yep.
And she takes it. And she asks him like, oh, does this need to be refrigerated? Because she's like, oh, it's a cooler. And he just goes, oh, no, it just has presents for her in it. And so she takes it inside. She doesn't open it because she's like, oh, it's a present for Kyra. So I get home like a little bit later. He's not there anymore. Luckily, thank goodness he's not there.
Oh my God.
And I go inside and she is immediately like, hey, some guy dropped off a present for you.
What was your first thought when she said that?
Who possibly could have dropped off a present for me? And I'm like a delivery person? And she's like, no, like a guy pulled up, knocked on the door and gave me this. And then she points at the cooler, which now this is the first time I'm seeing that it's a cooler. And I was like, he dropped off a cooler? So I'm asking her to describe the guy. I realize, oh, it's the guy that I went on the blind date with. And then I'm thinking, what on earth needs to be refrigerated? Like, did this guy just drop off like an organ or something at my house?
brain immediately goes to true crime stuff.
Yeah. So I say that to her and she's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think of that. I was thinking it was like cupcakes or like something like that. I'm like, I'm thinking it's a body part in
That's
this
what I
cooler.
thought. It's like a decapitated head.
Yes, something like that. So now I'm like, do we open it? And we're both just staring at this cooler. And of course we had to open it.
Yeah.
So I open it up. Right on top, it's like a stack of, you know, like the notebook paper that you wrote on in high school that like always has the scraggly edges and stuff on it. It's like 5 pages, a handwritten love letter to me. And it's a mix of English and Spanish. I want all of you to know, I don't speak any Spanish. I know like taco. I literally do not speak Spanish. I was just like, this is bizarre. So it's 5 pages, like written front and back. I'll try to find pictures because she and I were mortified by this. So I don't even read the letter. I just like can kind of like see and get like the gist. Okay, this is like,
But you can't even read half of it.
Well, yeah, I can't read half of it, but what was in English, it's not like I like went through and you know how you're supposed to like read the card before you open the present? That was not the scenario that I was
going to
in.
happen.
So I just like toss the papers off to the side and start continuing to look at like what is in this cooler. And right off the bat, next thing that's in there is a pair of earrings. They're like these yellow diamond. I don't think that they're a real diamond. I'm not really sure. Earrings. And so I'm like, okay, that's kind of like an interesting and bizarre gift. I've never once mentioned anything about yellow or that, but also I feel like they're kind of like not common.
Are they cute?
Not really. But I just like thinking in my mind, anytime I've been in a store that sells jewelry, I just don't really see yellow diamonds or like yellow gemstones. So it was just like kind of added bizarreness because it's just like, it's not like a pearl or something that I feel is like really commonplace. It was just added to the weirdness. So I set those aside. Next thing down is shampoo and conditioner. And I was like, what? Why is
he trying to tell me something?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, does he think I'm like need shampoo and conditioner or something? Mind you, I've gone on one date with this man. Exactly one date. And that's all that's in there. It's the earrings, the letter, and the shampoo and conditioner.
Why is it in a cooler then?
I don't know. I don't know if he just like didn't have a container.
Was cleaning out his house and like this is what he found he had extra of.
I don't know. So I'm thinking, what on earth is going on? So of course, then we start reading this manifesto love letter as much as we can. Turns out he gave me the shampoo and conditioner because he thought that those were the shampoo and conditioner that I used. And in the letter detailed how he like was in the store smelling shampoo and conditioner to figure out like what one he thinks I use. Which by the way, that was not what I used. Nor was I about to use that because I was like, what if he did something to these and it's going to like dye my hair or like.
I don't trust it.
All of it. I was like, all of this I'm not keeping. So I contact him because I'm like, okay, I don't know if these earrings are really expensive. I didn't know if they were like from Claire's or if they were like fancier.
His grandma's heirlooms.
And I try to send him a nice message like, hey, this is really flattering, but what I told you the other day still stands firm. I'm not interested. This is really flattering. I don't want to just throw away these earrings because I feel kind of bad, like you're trying to do something nice. I'm just not interested. I'm sorry. And he was like, oh, okay. Basically, thank goodness, like, okay about it. I was like, I do not want to be the one to give him these back. I can't. He's too...
You don't know.
This is too bizarre.
Yeah.
Like you're writing like a 5-page love letter to me. No, this too weird. So my roommate actually ended up giving him back the earrings. He like came by a different day, picked him up, and gave them back to him. And then I threw away the shampoo and conditioner, and he didn't want the cooler back also. So maybe he was cleaning out and just trying to get rid of it. So we also threw that away because we just were like, we
What in the
don't want
world?
this. So weird. He had tried to contact me a few times after that, but then I just kept being like, hey, not interested. And then eventually never heard from him again.
Well, have you seen him since?
No.
Because that is one thing that is terrible about dating in a small town in general is you have to potentially see these people.
No, luckily this was before I lived here. So I have no idea what he thought was going to happen from giving me shampoo and conditioner and a 5-page long love letter after one date.
Or just...
It was very bizarre.
I'm just trying to think how long I would have to be in a relationship with someone to think that's sweet.
It just honestly came across as pretty creepy and
Yeah.
misguided after I had told him, hey, I'm like not interested pretty explicitly after our first date. And I think that this kind of goes into what you were talking about last week. Like sometimes ghosting people maybe is better because I tried to let him down nicely and respectfully. Like, I mean, showing up at my house with a cooler, I seriously was like, there's organs in here. There is something weird in here.
I'm like, throw that stuff away.
My roommate and we were like, should we just get rid of this and not open it? But I couldn't.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Needed to know what was in it. I had to know what was in it. You would have opened it?
I would have opened it.
Yeah.
Yes, I definitely would have opened it. Yeah, something about the cooler just makes it like 10 times more sus.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it was just a normal box or even just like a paper bag, maybe would have been better.
Would have been totally normal. The cooler takes it to another level. For me, at least. But that is my weirdest first date story ever.
Yeah. Would you, if it was a great date, you wanted to see this guy again, and then he pulled that stunt, what would your next move be?
To me, the love letter was very bizarre and kind of creepy. I don't think that there is a world where I would have thought that that date was really good and then a guy would have done that.
Yes.
I just feel like that's incompatible. So I don't think that that would have been an issue. But if it was a really good date, like I think about the first date with my husband, if my first date with my husband and then my husband would have done that, probably a no, because it comes off as like really creepy to me.
The love bombing thing.
I'm also really big on boundaries and like I do not know how he got my address like to this date.
I think ultimately, like, yeah, the internet exists. It probably isn't that hard to find people's addresses and stuff, but at the same time, it just feels like a large breach.
And the fact that he thought that he could show up.
Show up, exactly.
So to me, it's all around creepy, but that's my weirdest dating story.
Oh my gosh. That's a crazy story. And I'm glad that it didn't end like violently or like he was actually potentially dangerous.
I know. Yeah. He gives definite stalker vibes from the letter and the dropping off the present. But I actually think that he's just maybe a little bit like socially awkward and he thought that we had a really good first date and really wanted to try to like make a good impression, but he really, really missed the mark on it.
So yeah, showing up to a girl's house with a cooler, it's
gonna be a no.
With a love letter, especially after the first date. I would say after the first couple dates is probably gonna be a no for most women.
This is actually a question I have, and I have a very strong opinion on this. How do you feel about love letters in general?
I love a love letter.
After how long of dating?
I'd have to be dating them. This has to
like
be my
full
boyfriend.
On dating,
yes.
Boyfriend. Okay.
Yes.
So I also really, really like little notes. I love little letters. I love stuff like that. But also, I think that you can only write a love letter, an actual letter, if you are in an active relationship with someone.
Yes, exactly.
If you are in the talking phase, notes only.
Yes, I agree with that.
And I think that a note is so cute and so sweet and so nice, but a short little note is very different than a love letter.
And it goes very far. I have kept every single note or letter that anyone has ever given me. birthday card, letter, like is like my love language.
Is little notes and
Yeah,
letters
so
and stuff?
if you've ever given me a letter, I still have it. I still have your wedding letter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we still have that.
I feel like a note goes a long way, but a love letter is exclusive to you are in a relationship.
Yes.
Otherwise, for me, it's too much. Don't sleep on the notes.
Don't sleep on the notes. Yeah, I'm caught up in a love letter.
The cooler, 5 pages long, half English, half Spanish.
How did he sign it?
I don't remember. Probably his name. Who's to say?
Prescott.
No.
Sometimes when people ask me what it's like dating in a small town, I'll give them this story. And the way I kind of characterize it is it's like this. You go to a bar and you meet this, very attractive human being and you hit it off, at the bar. Things are only so surface level. You're not necessarily finding out a whole lot about them. But then you go out with them again and you realize that they're a conspiracy theorist and like a hardcore supporter of a candidate that you do not support at all. Like just so far off the deep end.
That is, I feel like, an experience that a lot of women in this area have.
Yeah.
Because you don't really know. On a first date, you're not digging into stuff like that. And no one's really like opening up about that. But there is, I feel like, a pretty strong conspiracy theory culture. And I'll admit it, I like a conspiracy theory as much as the next person, but I'm not denying modern medical healthcare.
Yes. And I think you can have different opinions with people.
Absolutely.
And you can spend time with people and maybe not agree on everything, but still enjoy your time with them. This person, I couldn't even get a word in because he just wanted to make fun of like my views and how they were different from his own. And we both almost immediately knew that we were not right for each other. That it was like, nope. That was not a hard going our separate ways.
Sometimes because there is like this underlying culture of a lot of guys in this area who all hang out together, maybe guys who would be like less like that kind of jump on board because it's like a popular opinion in this area. And then they go further and further and further down the rabbit hole. Whereas maybe if it was a different community, it would be less normal. Mm-hmm. So there would be less conspiracies or
more people that do not share their opinions. So they might have a little bit more perspective of other opinions and like other people's experiences. It seemed to me that he just wanted to tell me exactly how it was and there was no other. And that's fine, but that was not for me. And that's exactly what it's like dating here.
I want to hear some of your X-Files.
All right.
And we're going to use the name Prescott henceforth for any exes, any random guys. I want to hear some of your X-Files.
So I've been here, 5 years?
Yeah.
And I spent most of that time single or like dating or like trying to find my person. But I screwed it up pretty bad my first relationship here. I don't say maybe I screwed it up. He screwed it up.
No, I don't think you screwed it up.
I do want to preface all of this to say that this isn't to like on a person or like, yo, frick Prescott, but just to kind of like share an experience that was not a great experience for me. And we were talking before we recorded this of like, this is probably something that a lot of women have had to deal with.
And share dating drama because if we wanted to just negatively talk about exes, we would use their names. There's nothing stopping us.
That's true.
We would use their names. And we want to share these stories in a way that allows us to tell you guys and to share them without damaging the reputation of these people.
Yeah.
If people are able to put it 2 and 2 together of who they are, okay, well.
You knew that. You probably knew that about me anyway.
You already knew the story beforehand. And if you put 2 and 2 together and you're like, oh, wow, this is this person. Okay, well, you're welcome to get their side of the story at any time.
You can ask him. I do want to say that is stuff in the story that I'm not purposely leaving out, or like maybe I am mischaracterizing it from other people's perspective, but like this is how I saw it, and like these are the things that I remember and like what I took away from it. So like there were things that I could have done better. Definitely. There is things that I learned, good and bad, that I do and don't want in a relationship.
There's two sides to every story.
There's two sides to every story. If he wants to make his own podcast and tell his side of the story, he can absolutely do that.
We just want to share our experiences, our takeaways, and what we've learned from these experiences.
Yeah, because for good or for bad, the things that I learned, I'm not the same, and I date differently because of the experiences that I had. I moved here in 2020. So I met Prescott pretty much kind of through friends. He was good friends with a good friend of mine, and then we were kind of all just friends because we were all more or less in the same job. We hit it off and we started dating, and we were dating together for more or less about a year. And this is why I brought up during our last episode. If you haven't, go check out our red flags, green flags episode. But being close with or being friends with someone that you've been intimate with or had a relationship with is like a huge red flag to me. And this is actually the story where it originates. So he had this really good friend, we'll call Vicky, that he had hooked up with in the past. Like at that point, I kind of didn't really know the extent of the relationship there. And they were still friends. And I was at that point willing to look past kind of whatever had happened in the past, because it wasn't at that point relevant to me.
Did you ever find out how long it had been since they hooked up?
I had to ask questions to make sure that it didn't overlap, kind of thing.
So it was recent.
Yes.
Since. Okay.
Yes. He was pretty open that he had told her that he didn't want something with her.
And then started dating you.
Yeah.
And geographically, all of you guys were together.
All in the same area.
Okay.
Throw a rock. Literally. And so there was, some sort of connection that I didn't really understand maybe the extent of it from the get-go, but it always made me really uncomfortable because of how this particular person was. And I think girls and guys can be friends. I'll take that opinion till the day that I die, but I do think that there are certain people that don't have boundaries.
Oh, yeah.
And there are sometimes girls that like don't respect the fact that you're dating this person. And so you being super touchy feeling with them is not cool with me. But I don't think I was mature enough to really express that, because I didn't want to make it seem like I was jealous, because I'm not a jealous person. I just was so uncomfortable with her thinking that she had that power over me and had that power over the guy that I was dating. It just made me uncomfortable, and I wasn't really in a place to kind of express that
Can you actually talk a little bit about what boundaries you think are okay and are good now, and like expound on that based off of your experience?
So it's definitely changed for me. Texting people after 9 p.m. Like you don't need to be texting them like every single day, especially if you've like had a history with them. Doing like massages or doing cupping things.
Oh yeah,
on their back or like
the
upper
physical
leg.
therapy cupping.
Yeah. I don't need to be around that. So like the physical contact, like the hand on the back.
I'll be completely honest. I probably have pretty strict things in my relationship that I'm comfortable with. For me, any physical touch of any other woman, it's a no from me. Unless it's like a doctor or a brief hug when they're like greeting each other, or like a physical therapist at a clinic.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a no. Other thing is like texting other people all the time. For me, it's like, sure, definitely have other friends, but when it's someone of the other gender and you're continuously talking to them, I find it inappropriate. Especially because a lot of guys, maybe women too, want emotional support in this other person. No, if you're not getting that from whoever you're in a relationship with and you need more, get a therapist.
Yeah.
Not a side girl to listen to your problems.
And I think that was maybe part of the problem, is they both probably needed each other in that capacity. But it was It was too much for me. And you'll see why as soon as we get to this. So
Wait, how early on was this starting?
this is before I think we were actually official.
Okay, so he's already like texting her a bunch and like
Yeah,
putting his hand on her back.
So we're all in the same group. And so it's like this weird, like, oh, they're just friends. Oh, she's just really friendly. She's just super handsy. Like, that's just the way that she is. And so that's kind of just what I felt like I had to accept.
Because it was a pre-existing friendship.
Yeah, because I was the one coming in. And so all of this was kind of like officially dating. And so it was just kind of like things I'm taking mental notes on, things that I'm like, hey, this relationship kind of makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. And he was fine about it. We would talk about it. I didn't think it was necessarily going to be a problem. And then we started officially dating, and we were at my friend's house, and we were all drinking. And one of my best friends from Clemson, we did a lot in Clemson together, just like experiences. We were in a couple of the same different organizations in college. We were both in Hawaii together. We also came to North Carolina together. He's also gay, but for some reason, every single boyfriend I've had has like had a huge issue with him because I'm very close with him. But I mean, I don't think I've necessarily done it inappropriately, but yeah, they've just kind of always been really insecure about this guy, but he was not into me, obviously. But I think we were dancing. We were doing like the bachata or something. And Prescott got like super angry at me, basically starts yelling at me.
At the party?
Yeah, all of that kind of unfolded. We walked home. I've like pretty much kind of shut down at this point, and he kind of continues to want to keep talking and keep fighting. And there was a lot of different stuff that he kind of just brought up. And I feel like shoved the knife in and then like dig it in a little bit more. But one of the biggest things that he had said when he was like blackout drunk, and I'll truly never forget the look on his face when he said this, was basically like, you don't make me feel good about myself. Vicky makes me feel good about myself. And there was another thing that he had said to me, but ultimately, like, there's this person that I've had this relationship with. It is superior to my relationship with you. And here are all of the reasons that you are not like living up what I need in the relationship. And like, he had gotten out of a really long, serious relationship with this girl from college. And so I felt like he expected me to kind of start exactly where he left off with her. Like, no, I'm not going to trust you with everything right off the bat. We've been dating for a month. Like, you don't get to know everything right away. That's just not how I operate.
Up the relationship.
So there were a lot of things I genuinely just don't think that he really understood about that. And then I think there was a lot of maybe insecurity on both sides. Like, I had just gotten back from my first deployment. With that came a lot of like trauma that I had to deal with and go through, that I like just wasn't ready to do that with another person yet. And that was like a personal jab at him, even though it was just more of a comfort thing for me. I just wasn't ready yet. I just wasn't ready to process it with somebody. But for him, it was like, you should be able to. And so just kind of like all of these things he's like pushing on me of like why I'm not good enough. But then also here's this girl that like gives me all these things that I want that you're not giving me. But he has no recollection of any of it.
Seriously,
yeah,
he didn't remember.
He didn't remember any of it.
Did you respond to him?
I just remember being in the door because I was trying to disengage, because I was like, he just kind of like kept attacking me with like the things that he was saying. And I didn't have like, I was like, I don't even know what's going on. And no, I don't think I really had anything to say at that point. And so I didn't really know what to do. I remember like talking to friends and being like, this feels like he knew exactly how to hurt me and used exactly how he knew to hurt me to do that. And like, he said he didn't like mean any of those things. I was like, I don't think that's possible. I genuinely don't think it's possible for you to say something when you're drunk and then not mean that.
I feel like people are more honest and more unfiltered when they're drunk.
100%.
And he had probably thought those things before and then just had like the lack of filter to be able to actually say them to you.
Yep. And so obviously after that, I was so uncomfortable with the relationship between those two. But I was not okay with me not being okay with it because I was like, I'm not a jealous person. I don't want to be the girl that's like, you can't talk to this person. Like you can't be friends with this person because I didn't want to be that girl. And so I kind of just removed myself from all of the situations in which we would all hang out together because my like sticking point was like, I will not ever be in the same room as you two again. I will never put myself through that again. And so then I wasn't, but then every time that he would hang out with her, I just felt so bad about myself. I just felt like it was a personal attack, but I wasn't really able to be like, don't hang out with her because I just didn't feel like that was fair.
Yeah, for you to be like controlling and say, you know what? You know what's crazy? If my husband said, hey, this person makes me uncomfortable, even if it was someone that I am really genuinely good friends with, I would never hang out with them again.
I never got over it. I mean, I'm still not over it. I'll probably never be over it. Just like the insecurity that I think grew in me for so long and I just like never came to terms with it.
What were you thinking when he said that? Like, what were you thinking and feeling after he was basically like, you're not good enough. You don't make me feel the same way that she makes me feel. And then he's still hanging out with her, but dating you.
It was like a physical pain. You know, when you don't think of feelings as being a physical thing, I would feel physical pain.
Like in your heart.
In my heart.
Oh, yeah.
I would be like, you know what I mean? You're just like, every single time. And he would ask me and I would be like, yeah, Prescott, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you like who to hang out with. But then he would text me later and I'd be like, hey, I need some time tonight. I can't be with you tonight because I'm feeling this way. But he would then make me almost feel like I couldn't have space away from him because it made him feel bad.
I feel like that whole time he's like basically gaslighting you into you're trying so hard to be everything for him. And he's always telling you you're not good enough. And then,
or even if he's not, like, I would say that his argument there would be like, I am doing all of these things to make you feel good. And he would. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that he wouldn't, but I was just never able to get over that initial kind of feeling and like the stuff that had happened. So I think I probably from the get-go should have just broken it off because I knew probably in my like soul of souls that I was never going to get over it. So then we keep dating, trying to figure it out, like trying to overcome this. And, you know, he tells me that he's decreasing contact with her, like won't text her, like anytime they hang out, it's just with the friend group or whatever, which again, I know isn't true. And then we were at a Clemson game with my college friends from Clemson. We were out and I had found out that he had hooked up with his best friend from in college or like his first duty station. And they were still best friends, like talked every single day, all of this stuff.
He has a lot of friends.
Which I think is fine.
I don't personally. I'll take a hard line on this one.
Yeah.
I don't think my husband really has any friends that are girls. Maybe like the girl gang. And that's kind of the extent of it.
Yeah.
And he's not like texting you guys outside of any group chat that I'm in.
Yeah. So I think I can have good guy friends. I think that I can be dating someone that has good girlfriends. But at this point on, after all of this happens, if the intimacy was there, if the history was there, like I don't want any part of it.
No, it's totally different. Once that line is crossed, it can never be uncrossed.
Exactly. Okay, so it had come out that they had hooked up. And I remember walking to the bathroom and being so confused because I had specifically asked him in the past if they had been a thing. But later his defense was, oh, well, you didn't ask these specific words. I'm like,
No, that's crazy.
No.
So basically because you didn't say the magic combo, he knew what you meant, but he was misleading you.
Yes. And so then I was like, wait a second, you told me this. And so that came out. So we were fighting, we were drinking. Obviously, with that comes a lot higher tensions. And so when we had gotten back to the house, he basically again told me that Vicky makes him feel better about himself. I don't even remember the wording at this point. I had it like marked in my brain for so long, but like I don't remember anymore. But
I'm glad that you don't remember.
But it was basically she gives me what I want. She gives me what I need, the emotional things that you don't give me. But again, he didn't remember it.
I feel like he's claiming that he doesn't remember it.
I don't know. Either way. So he got really upset. I was like, holy crap. I remember going up to my friend's room and like crying, whatever. And he's like trying to follow me. And I'm like, get the frick away from me. But then I come back and he tells me he's going to kill himself. So obviously I'm like freaking out, but I have no ability at that point. I'm like, I cannot be the one to bring him out of this. Clearly, you just told me that I'm not emotionally good enough for you.
And you have to take things like that seriously.
You do.
Like if someone tells you this, even if you're like, I think that you're using this to manipulate me, or you're just saying it to get me to do whatever you want in the moment.
I didn't know.
You have to take it seriously because you truly do not know.
I didn't know. And so I was freaking out. I think he was passed out at this point, but I'm like, I can't just like let this be, but I also personally cannot deal with it. So I'm like, I'm going to call one of his friends.
Which also, even if someone is suicidal and you aren't in the position that you are in, it's always good to call someone else, because then it's not just you and that person. You have kind of like backup to help you, or to help you make decisions and get the person the help that they actually need. Not just, patch it for
that night. Yes, actually.
And then the whole burden is on you. It's just always good to have someone else there.
Yes. And so I was going to call one of his friends, and I was like looking through one of his friend's text messages, and they were talking about those two relationship, Prescott and Vicky's. And basically it was him saying how he wanted a relationship with her again, friendship or otherwise. I don't know. And one of the lines was, K Vogues is it for now.
For now, my man.
I don't know, but he doesn't remember it. I don't know what he claimed when I called him out on it. And also that's like not the end of it. Then I think we went through like 3-4 months of him constantly calling me, like trying to get back together, telling me that if I had just worked harder and loved him more and done all of this stuff, that it would have worked out. And calling me out for getting back on dating apps and like cussing me out for all of this stuff. And I'm just trying to heal. Like I had just lost my best friend. I lost all of my friends, like lost somebody that I thought that I had loved. And now I have to deal with him like making me feel bad. Like it was my fault. I'm like, you broke my heart. Yeah.
Super selfish, honestly.
The truth is I don't know what it was, because part of me does believe that like he did love me and like maybe I was the person for him. But then I also don't want to believe that, because I don't think love is supposed to feel like that. And I don't think that you would treat people that you loved like that.
I do think that some people don't know how to love, and they don't realize that when you really love someone, love is ultimately like a choice. I'm sure he probably felt those like feelings, but wasn't ready or mature enough or selfless enough to make decisions like, I love her. I'm going to put her feelings before my own. Feelings of uncomfortableness. Okay, well, if I'm putting that other person's feelings first, I'm not hanging out with this other person because I'm putting your feelings first.
Yeah.
And that is actual like mature love versus I think
I just like her because she's fun and she's pretty.
And I feel like that was probably real. It just was like immature love.
Yeah. I love that you say that love is a choice, because one thing I really struggled with after that relationship was like trust. And one thing I came to the realization is I also think that like trust is a choice, because at first when you don't have that like rapport build up with someone, like you do have to kind of go out on a limb and be like, I choose to trust you. I choose to, although I have had people break my trust in the past and I've had like these bad experiences, like I am choosing to look past those experiences and trust you with this relationship. And that's been really hard to like come after, maybe when you've had your trust broken or like betrayed like that before, is getting into new relationships and you're like, how do I navigate where I don't know who I can trust, because like I loved this person, or I thought I loved this person, and they completely betrayed me. And how do I go into a new relationship and trust again? And I think that was one thing I like told myself. I'm like, yeah, trust is a choice. You have to be a little bit brave and like put your heart on the line a little bit.
How do you think that this experience has changed how you view dating now?
I think a lot of the time women in relationships or really life in general, we take a little bit too much responsibility. And I think that was one of the problems. I took like too much responsibility after that breakup of like, what can I have done better? But like, it probably still wouldn't have worked. But I have taken a lot harder stance on boundaries and what makes me uncomfortable, and then actually having a hard line with those boundaries and not letting people say to me like that. Like if I had just from the get-go been like, you can't say that to me, and draw a line and not continue dating him, I would have saved myself so much heartache.
Yeah, absolutely.
I learned a lot and gave myself a lot of grace for having boundaries that I used to think were negative ones. A boundary in and of itself is not negative or positive. Like, oh, because I don't accept him being friends with a girl, that makes me jealous. Or because I don't want to date someone that does this, that makes me insecure. Well, no, it doesn't. It's just a boundary. And like, it's on you to accept that or not. Okay, you want to be best friends with your ex? That's fine. You can absolutely do that. But I want no part in that. I'm not controlling what you're doing, but I just cannot have a relationship anymore with someone that has a close relationship with their ex.
I feel like this is the type of thing that you learn in your 30s as a reflection of your 20s. Because very similar boat with boundaries. I think that boundaries are a communication between you and whoever you are with, and almost like a compatibility test.
Yeah.
And if you don't talk about boundaries often and you're not open about them, then you truly do not know if you are compatible with that person. And you're setting yourself up to be really hurt later on, because if your boundaries are not compatible, you probably shouldn't be with that person. And love is a proactive choice. It's not just okay, yeah, I agree to your boundary, I'm not going to see this person anymore. It's making sure that that other person that they were previously seeing knows the new boundaries so that they can also be respectful or not respectful of the relationship.
Yeah.
Like it's an active participant choice versus you creating a rule and him being like, I have to be compliant with this rule.
Yes. I guess one thing I will say out of that is don't try to tough it out, because I think I truly knew that I was never going to get over that, and our relationship was never going to be able to overcome something like that. But as rough as it was, that breakup and like losing friends that I cared about and losing a friend group, that is how I think I found myself into the girl gang. And so the girl gang kind of was a saving grace for me. It just helped me look at this place with like a positive light.
Instead of it all being revolved around
this one person, around this one heartbreak, as we say, new memes.
New memes, absolutely.
Yes. I'm sure the situation would have been so different if I had the girl gang and you guys behind me.
Oh yeah, we would have went nuts.
So yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I mean,
yeah, if someone is saying things like, you're not good enough, you're never going to be good enough. Okay, cool. Well, go find less then.
Yeah.
Seriously, he is a prime example of go find less.
Yeah.
If I'm not good enough for you, go find less. There's tons of people out there that are less.
Yeah.
And he truly did. He went and found less.
Sometimes I'll hear my story out loud and be like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Or like, oh, it wasn't that bad. But then I'm like, well, it traumatized me for years. Like, it is enough to like bring up and like have a conversation about it and talk about.
I think it's totally worth talking about. That boundary thing. I wish I would have heard it explained like that when I was a teenager, when I was in my 20s, because I thought same things like, oh, I shouldn't be jealous. I shouldn't be setting boundaries for guys because I didn't want to come across as, oh, I'm like authoritarian dictator.
Or
that's
crazy.
Like, yeah. And the reality is that boundaries are literally just a communication between what makes you feel comfortable and not comfortable.
Yeah.
And it goes both ways. If someone else tells you something that they're uncomfortable with and this is their boundary, okay, well, protect it. Like you're protecting them. And I wish I would have known like this is a healthy, good thing to have.
And just understanding your worth to defend your boundaries and being a little bit brave to let go of someone that isn't respecting your boundaries. Because it is really hard when you have a lot going on in this relationship and you're like, but I don't want to let it go. Your boundaries are what's important. Your worth is what's important. You will find someone. I mean, I hope. I haven't yet. You're a great example.
Yeah.
Like, you will find someone that will protect those boundaries, and you will find someone that respects you. But yeah, I wish I had known all of that years ago.
I think it's worth being loving towards people. I think it's worth like putting your heart out there. And if you get hurt, okay, you get hurt, but it's worth it, because when you find someone who's also going to respect your boundaries, who's also going to like build trust in you and like choose to love you, it is so worth it.
Yeah.
And it's out there.
I love that for you.
It's out there for you too.
Hopefully. I think
send your applications. If anyone's interested in dating Kathleen, send me your application. I'm screaming.
so. Me and one of my best friends from college, we are kind of in the same boat when it comes to dating. We've kind of just like, it's just not working for us. And we decide, well, I don't know, we talk about being on The Bachelor together. So I'm just kind of like the sneaky little mole so that I can like boost up my friend so that she makes it far enough to that point where we're both liked enough that we can get taken on to Bachelor in Paradise.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so that's like our little...
You're trying to get a vacation out of it.
Yeah, we're not trying to... But then also, we can be the next Bachelorettes together.
Okay, that would be very fun. That would be very fun. You'd be so fun on The Bachelorette.
And so would she. She's like...
I would love you on there. I would totally watch it. I don't watch it right now. I would watch it for you.
Maybe. Maybe this will be my application.
But if any guys want to put in an application to date Kathleen, send me your credential. Why you think you should be allowed to date Kathleen, my friend. I'll screen you.
Well, that's all I got. That was kind of my story.
Thanks for sharing that.
Thanks for listening. Yeah, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. If you haven't already, go check out our earlier episodes. And after this episode, we'll have one more, and that'll close out our season 1.
Stay tuned for more episodes and for next season.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Shelaborate. We can't wait to bring you more episodes.
Don't forget to follow, like, and drop us a review. Our episodes are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Patreon.
If you liked the show, post it on your social media and pass it along. Women supporting women is the whole point.
We'll be back next week with more opinions, more stories, and more Shelaboration.
Until then, I'm Kath.
And I'm Tyra. This podcast is for the girls.